Today we will start with k-means cluster analysis. K-means cluster analysis is actually a non-hierarchical way of clustering. We have so far seen only hierarchical ways. So in non-hierarchical ways, what are the points that we had discussed when we discussed the difference between hierarchical and non-hierarchical? What are the peculiarities of non-hierarchical clustering? Can anyone recall?
Number of clusters were
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Number of clusters is fixed in advance, say k, and every step the observation gets shuffled.
Correct. Number of clusters is fixed in advanced, and in every step you will have exactly that many number of clusters, unlike hierarchical where number of clusters changes monotonically. Okay. Anything else? Hierarchy is not there. So in hierarchical we saw that in agglomerative, if two objects get joined at some point, then they stay joined throughout the procedure, throughout the further procedure. Whereas in k-means, you have in any non-hierarchical procedure, you have continuous shuffling. So objects may come together, then go away from each other, then again come together. Everything is possible. Okay. So in our syllabus, we will see only one non-hierarchical clustering, that is k-means, but there are other things. For example, there is something called as k-midoids. Then actually equivalent to k-means, we can define k-modes. So that probably I will define and maybe we can have some example. But first, let us try to go for k-means clustering. So let me list the algorithm first. We will see with an example, and after the example things are still not clear, we will discuss the doubts. Okay, because while writing down the theoretical steps you might feel that something is not clear, but still I would suggest waiting for an example. Okay, can you see my screen?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. So first thing is you have to fix the number of clusters, right? So fix the number of clusters that you want. That is the first step. Fix the number of clusters, we will call it k. Okay, then choose k distinct seeds. Okay, choose k distinct seeds. What do I mean by seeds? Seeds are basically again points or observations, but they are not necessarily the observations which are present in the data, but they should be from the range of the data. Okay, so choose k distinct seeds. So what do I mean by this? If the data has p variables, if the data has p variables, we choose k distinct points from Rp, p dimensional. Okay, we are assuming continuous. For k-means, we assume that the variables are continuous. All the variables are continuous because we want to compute mean at some time point. So for categorical data, we can't compute mean. So it is assumed that we are talking about continuous data. Okay. So choose k distinct seeds. If the data has p variables, then we choose k distinct points from Rp as seeds, and we try to make sure that they are more or less similar to the observations. More or less in the region of in the observation space. Okay, in the observation region. What do I mean by that? Let me draw a small picture. So if I have, say, bivariate data and all my observations are suppose here. Okay, these are my observations, and suppose I want to choose 3 seeds. I would suggest choosing something like this and this maybe. Okay, you can choose something here. Technically it is not wrong, but then it may cause some problems in conversions. At least it may take longer time to get converged, etc. So it is better to choose it's better to choose seeds from the region which is similar to the observations. Okay, is it okay? In some cases it might exactly coincide with some observation like this. That is also fine. Okay, so you choose K seeds. Then what is the next step? Next step is compute the distance of each observation from each seed. Compute the distance of each observation from each seed. So how many distances we will have? If I have n observations, how many distances can we have of this type? I have n observations, K seeds. How many distances then?
Cross K.
N cross K. So we are not computing a distance matrix here like we used to do in hierarchical. Okay, so I have, say, seed 1, seed 2, seed K, and then observation 1, observation 2, observation N. So this value would represent distance between observation 1 and seed 1. Then this will be observation 1 and seed 2, and so on. Okay, and prepare a table as given below. Table or matrix, you can call it whatever you want. Okay, so I will have n into k readings of the distances. So you have this. Here it seems like k is large, but no, your k has to be smaller than n. Okay, somewhere we should note. Fix the number of clusters k should be strictly less than n. Okay, you can go up to equal to n, but if you go equal to n, then it's actually one observation per cluster. You don't need an algorithm for that. Okay, so ideally k should be strictly less than n. In fact, k should be quite less. You should have decent number of observations in each cluster generally. So at least something less than n by 2 or n by 3. Okay, so you prepare a table like this. Now locate the smallest entry in every row of the above table. Locate the smallest entry in every row of the above table. What does that denote? Smallest entry in every row, what does it denote?
Observation closest to the seed.
Observation closest to the seed. Can you say?
In the first row, if the lowest value in the first row will denote that the observation one is closer to that specific seed.
So seed which is closest to that particular observation. Okay, so if suppose in the first row lowest entry is, say, 5th entry, then we will conclude that observation 1 is closest to seed 5 among all the seeds. Okay, so in that case we will put observation 1 in cluster 5. Okay, so locate the smallest entry in every row of the above table. So if ijth entry is, let me write jth entry in ith row, that is better. If in ith row jth entry is the smallest entry, then it means that among all the seeds, I'm sorry, just a minute. If in ith row jth entry is the smallest entry, then it means that among all the seeds, ith observation is closest to the jth seed. Okay, among all the seeds, ith observation is closest to the jth seed. Got it?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, some of the students are waiting in the
Oh, is it?
waiting room.
I did not.
Let them in.
Yeah, sorry. Somehow I did not hear the notification. Okay. Yeah. Ith observation is closest to the jth seed. So what does it mean? Then in this scenario, we put ith observation in jth cluster. Okay, we have k seeds, so this way we will get k cluster. We put ith observation in jth cluster. Okay, the reason for taking seeds roughly from the range or cloud of observations is that if you take a seed somewhere here, you might end up getting an empty cluster. No observation would be closest to this seed. So in that case, you might get an empty cluster which you don't want. You want k non-empty clusters. Okay. Hence, and if you get an empty cluster, then it creates a problem. The algorithm runs into a problem. So you should have your seeds coming from the region of the observation cloud. Got it? So we put ith observation in jth cluster and we repeat steps 3 and 4 for all n observations. Thus, we would get a distribution of n observations in k clusters at the end, right? A distribution of n observations in k clusters. Is it what I want? Have we reached the end point? Or is there any problem with this algorithm?
Ma'am, this would depend on the seeds, right? Like,
Correct. So if I choose some seeds and if you choose some other seeds, then it would mean that we would get different results. And ideally, we don't want our results to be too different from each other. So we don't stop here. What we do is, after getting these k clusters, compute the mean of observations in each cluster. Compute the mean of observations in each cluster. Okay. Then, and take these k means, because for every cluster you will have one value of mean vector. So take these k means as the k new seeds. Okay. compute the mean of each cluster, mean of observations which are put in each cluster, and then you'll have k different mean vectors. So take these k means as k new seeds, and once I have the seeds, I can start this process again. So now we have to compute distance of each observation from each of these new seeds, then prepare a table again. Then you have to again locate the smallest entry in every row. Some of the observations may shift to other clusters, some may stay there, and then you will get revised clusters. Okay, so repeat steps 2 to 6 till we get the same allotment or same assignment of clusters. So till we get the same clusters for 2 consecutive steps. This is actually called as convergence of the algorithm. Okay, why? Because if I have some clusters and if the clusters don't change second time, then they are not going to change further, because it means that the means are now fixed. So my seeds would remain the same. So if my seeds are same, then even if I repeat it further 100 times, I am still going to get same result every time. Okay. Is it okay? Hence, we repeat these steps till we get convergence, that is, till we get same clusters for 2 consecutive steps. Have you gotten at least a slight idea about the algorithm?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now we will study a small example. So we will actually manually try k-means clustering on one small data set, and then after doing that, if you still have doubts, we can discuss. Okay, so let me take a very small bivariate data set. So observation 1 is suppose 112. Oh, I said bivariate and wrote trivariate, right? Observation 2 is suppose -11, 12, -21, 0, 0. Okay, suppose these are 5 observations. Okay, and we want to carry out 2 means cluster analysis. What do I mean by 2 means cluster analysis? I have to divide these 5 observations into 2 groups. Okay. By the way, distance function can be anything. I did not specify which distance function you should use. So ideally for continuous Euclidean distance is recommended, but you can definitely go for Manhattan distance or Minkowski distance or any other distance that you prefer. Okay. Here, for the sake of simplicity, we will try with Manhattan distance. Why? Because in Euclidean I'll need to take square root at every stage, and while doing manually it's a bit clumsy to get, it's a bit tedious to get square root. Okay. So first step, what is the first step in the k-means algorithm?
We'll have to select 2 seeds.
2 seeds we have to select, right? So any suggestions? What seeds can I take? Not 2 away from the data. That's the only condition. And 2 seeds should be distinct. And in fact, they can be some of the data points also. That is also allowed.
And 1, 0 and -1, 0.
Okay, so these are the 2 seeds that you have suggested. Okay. Now, by the way, others are allowed to talk. It's not necessary that only one person talks. In fact, I would prefer if everyone talks. So suppose these are the 2 seeds. Now we have to compute distance of each of these observations from each of these seeds. Manhattan distance, what is the formula? distance between AB would be mod of A1 minus B1 plus mod of A2 minus B2 if A and B are bivariate. Interesting. My pen didn't work but my hand worked. When I tried to clean it got erased. Okay. Okay, so A is A1, A2, B is B1, B2. Then this is the distance. Okay. So I have to compute distance of observation 1 from S1. So mod of 1 minus 1 would be 0 and mod of 1 minus 0 would be 1. So the distance is 1. Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So for S2 it would be 1 minus minus 1. So 2 plus 1. So 3. Okay. Please stop me if my calculations go wrong. Then O2 to S2. So minus 1 to 1 means 2 and then this 1. So 3. Then minus 1 so 0 and 1. So 1. Then O3 is 1 2. So 1 1 is 0 and this is 2. 1 minus 1 is 2 and then 2 0 is 2. So 4. This is 3 and 1. So 4. And this is 1 and 1. So 2. And then this is 1 and this is again 1. Okay. Am I correct? Are all these calculations correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now I have to locate smallest observation in each row. Smallest distance in each row. So here this is small. Then this, and here I have a choice. So I can choose arbitrarily. So my cluster 1 would definitely have O1, O3. Cluster 2 would definitely have O2, O4. And for O5 we have a choice. So where do you want me to put it? C1 or
C1.
okay, fine. C1. So I've got one set of clusters, two clusters, O1, O3, O5 in one cluster, O2, O4 in another cluster. Now we have to take mean of each cluster as the new seed. So now my revised seed 1 will be mean of O1, O3, O5. So O1, O3 and O5. So 1, 1, 0. So 2 by 3 and 1, 2, 0. So 3 by 3. So 1. So 2 by 3 and 1 would be my first seed. Is it okay how I reached to this point? Seed 1. And then for seed 2, O2, O4. O2, O4 means minus 3 and then 2. So by 2. So minus 3 by 2 and 2 by 2, that is 1. So now I have to compute distances of each observations from each of these two seeds. Okay, so O1 is what? 1 1. So the distance will be 1 by 3 plus 0. So 1 by 3. Then 1 and minus 3 by 2. So minus 1.5 plus 1. So 2.5 and 0. So I think 2.5. Is it correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Then the next observation is minus 1 1. Okay. So minus 1 to 2 by 3. So this will be 1 plus 2 by 3. So 1.66. And minus 1 to this will be 0.5 and that is 0. So 0.5. Please stop me if my calculations go wrong. O3. O3 is 1 2. So 1 to 2 by 3 is 0.33 and then this. So 1. So 1.34. It was 1 2, right? So this 2.5 and 1. So 3.5 probably. Then I hope you are checking the calculations. O4 is minus 2 to 1. So minus 2 and then this 2 by 3. So 2.67 and then minus 2 and what was y coordinate? 1. So no worries there. So 2.67. So minus 2 and this will be 0.5. So just 0.5. And O5 is 0, 0 I think. Yes. So 0, 0 means 2 by 3 and 1. So 1.67. And here 1.5 and 1. So 2.5. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am, correct.
So now I have to again locate the smallest entries. So here 1 by 3, then 0 0.5, 1.34, 0 0.5, 1.67. So we get cluster 1 as O1, O3, O5 and cluster 2 as O2, O4. Is it same as what we had in the earlier step? Clusters, are they same?
Yes, ma'am.
So it means we have reached the convergence, so we would stop the algorithm.
Ma'am, but I had a doubt in this.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the first step, like when we revised the seeds, what we considered, we had an option to put O5 in either C1 or C2. So if you would have put it in C2, then after conversion, would we have got this same result, or
No,
do we
not
need another
necessarily.
conversion?
Not necessarily. We could have probably gotten different result. So now that brings me to the next point. So even though we are repeating the exercise till convergence to eliminate the effect of seeds, still effect of seeds is not completely eliminated. Okay, so in your final conclusion, in your final output, effect of seeds might remain. So few observations might get placed in different clusters if two people do the same cluster analysis with two different seeds. In fact, I would suggest you can try say K-means cluster analysis on R and Minitab, and you might be able to get slightly different outputs. So you might have certain observations in certain cluster in R, and in Minitab you might see that maybe few of them, not all, but maybe 2-3 observations out of 100 might get placed in different clusters. So that is a possibility. In fact, that is considered as one of the flaws or cons of K-means cluster analysis, that your results would depend on the choice of seeds. Okay, and what some people do is, in such cases, instead of taking seeds arbitrarily, what they do is, there are two options. Some people carry out the cluster analysis using multiple sets of seeds and then record the observation for each set of seeds, and then finally choose by taking, kind of like mode. So maximum number of times every observation has gone to which cluster. Okay, so experimenting over multiple set of seeds to remove the effect. And second option that people use is, instead of choosing the seeds randomly, they first carry out hierarchical clustering, use hierarchical clustering to get k groups, k clusters, and after getting those k clusters, they use means of those k clusters as the seeds or starting points for k-means clustering. Okay, that is one of the ways in which this problem can be addressed. But in that second way, there is still a problem, because I mentioned I am mentioning this as a flaw of cluster analysis, k-means cluster analysis. But of course, it must have some benefits also. It must have had some pros compared to hierarchical method. Otherwise, people wouldn't use this. So the thing is, in hierarchical clustering, you need to construct distance matrix at every step. And the dimension of distance matrix is very high if your number of observations is high. So if you have 1000 observations, then in your first step of hierarchical clustering, you need 1000 cross 1000 matrix. Okay. In the next step, it would be simply reduced by 1, mostly 1. So 999 cross 999. Okay. As a result, hierarchical clustering is computationally quite taxing, quite expensive. It takes a lot of computational power because you need to store very large matrices. Whereas compared to that, this matrix is slow. It is n cross k matrix where k we know is strictly less than n. Okay. So in k means computational issues are comparatively very few. Okay. So it does not require too many computing resources and it can still give decent outcome. Okay. So that's why I don't discuss that method of in too detail. Okay. So you have, I mean, method of choosing seeds. So basically it's not really very helpful if you are worried about your computational time.
Okay, ma'am.
Any other doubt to anyone? So now you have also seen pros and cons of k-means and pros and cons of hierarchical, right? Through this discussion. Okay, so I mentioned briefly that there is something called as k-modes. Can you now guess what could possibly be k-modes clustering?
Ma'am, when we revise the seeds, so instead of taking a mean, we select a mode.
Correct. So this current cluster analysis is applicable only for continuous observations because you have to take means and you can't do that for categorical data. But you have categorical data, instead of means, if you take modes and then everything else if you keep same, then you get what is known as k-modes clustering. Okay. If you are dealing with less number of observations, then there is a slight possibility that for a particular variable in your cluster you may not have mode. What do I mean by that? There may be a tie. All the possible values might be occurring with equal frequency. But again, in such case, you can pick mode randomly.
Ma'am, is K modes better than K means clustering? Like, does it produce a better output?
They are not comparable. K means is for continuous data, K modes is for discrete data. I mean, not discrete, categorical data.
But we can distribute the continuous data, right, in intervals.
No, we won't recommend that. You are losing data.
Yes.
You are losing information. No? If you convert continuous data to categorical data, then you are losing some information. So that way you can do that, but still I won't compare k modes and k means because they are two different methods which are applicable on different types of data. So there is no way of comparing them. K medoids you can compare with k means.
What I mean to say is, what we are considering over here is we are shifting the mean of our cluster according to the observations that we get on the distance matrix, right? So the even the observation that is at the border of our cluster will change the mean of this cluster completely.
Correct.
So instead of that, if we go for modes, in that case we'll have a center where there are highest number of observations. And it won't depend on whether the outlier lies far away.
But then your outlier may still see, correct, you're right. It won't affect your mode. It won't affect mode of that particular cluster. But then your outlier has to go in some cluster. So there you may run into problems. When you
Yes,
compute distance, anyway it will be closer to some other so it will again end up being an outlier probably in some other cluster. You are trying to compare because traditionally we say that mean is affected by outliers and mode is not affected by outliers. I understand your
Yes,
point.
ma'am.
Yeah, I understand your point, but it won't be completely free from problems.
Okay.
Here you are not you don't have a permission to throw away outliers. They will end up being in, so that would increase the heterogeneity of that cluster.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am. Any other doubt?
Madam, is
Is
there
there
something
something
like
like
K
K
median
median
clustering?
clustering? We can do similarly, which would probably again further reduce, I mean, which would again reduce the problems of K means. That's what you're trying to say. So yes, you can try K medians also. Exactly same algorithm. Instead of mean, you would take median of the cluster. So I have one bonus question. So come up with an example where you can use K means and K median, and I mean come up means you can construct obviously any data and go with that, but try to create a situation where you can say that okay, one is better than other, means K means is better than K median or K median is better than K means. So choose observations in such a way that you can probably conclude something like that. You have to of course define what is meant by better, so it's all up to you. So if there are no other doubts, I will stop here for today. As I said, we I wish to have a test on cluster analysis in the next week, so please let me know the slots and preferably on Wednesday because Thursday is a holiday and Friday Saturday might also be fine as long as it is not in our lecture slot, because Friday Saturday I might try to conduct live lecture. I'm not yet sure. And this week we won't have any more live lectures. This week I will try to send recordings, but live lectures will definitely won't have. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
ma'am.
ma'am.